I didn't even think of that, but I'm surprised he put it back. Well, yeah, I mean, one way or another.
The Township Board of Supervisors come to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you all remain standing, we'll continue with our Reverend Stephen Lepecki from Oak Grove Lutheran Church. We'll have the invocation.
Thank you for having me here tonight. Let us pray. Almighty God, we are thankful for so many things. We thank you for this land that is our home in New Sewickley. We thank you for the hard-working people who live in this place. And we thank you for the women and men who participate in our municipal government every month, conducting the business of this township. Be with them always as they go about their work, Lord. Help these supervisors and all who participate in local government to perform their functions with wisdom, with fidelity, with patience, and with empathy. Strengthen us all with good courage to keep doing your work in this world and to find the paths that you have laid out for us. Remind those who serve here that their service to the community is not forgotten, that they are appreciated by many, that they have been called to these positions by you, and that their labor is not in vain. And Lord, on this particular night, we also offer prayers for our nation. Father, we are so divided one from another. Help us to come together as one nation, under God, as you have called for us to be. Guide our country down the path that you would have us follow. Give us all the patience to love our neighbors as ourselves, even when we disagree sharply with them. We pray that our country might make it through this election night without violence, without toxicity, without hatred or strife or division, and that our democracy may be maintained and preserved. And we ask all of these things in the name of your beloved Son, Jesus Christ, our Savior and Lord. Amen.
Thank you. Security cameras installed in the meeting room are for visual recordings and security purposes only. Members of the public may be recording the meeting. Executive sessions were held on October 15th, a brief personnel matter, and before and after the October 29th agenda meeting for legal matters. This time we'll entertain any amendments to our agenda. There's none. Minutes. October 1st, 2024, regular meeting. We'll take action on this.
I move to approve the October 1st meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Doug,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes. Our bills from the general and stormwater funds, October 2nd through November 5th, 2024, to be paid. We'll take action on the,
Before we go into that, Chairman, I have some questions on, there's something I haven't never encountered, and I don't know if you guys have either. We've got, maybe I missed it, do we approve the purchases under the stamp? The money that we received did we ever vote on those purchases? Everything else we always vote on, the replacing doors or boilers or whatever else it is, we vote on those grants. The second question, we got 3 of these that I think need to do, well, these 2 of them should have been bid. I think they're over the limits. Did we do a bid opening and award, and do we accept bids? I've never seen these come through like that. They just came in, we didn't vote on it first.
we voted on just the stamp program, period.
We
Not
had
the inner workings of it.
we had a resolution to apply. That was in March. But I don't remember us ever accepting or voting on awarding. We have to, as a board, we have to approve all purchases, right?
I'm not sure what purchases were talked, I don't have that information in front of me.
It's a stamp program that we've just been awarded a grant on.
Sure.
And those are being broke out as the direction of, those coming from grassroots, is that how they?
So in 2023, we entered into the stamp program. Grassroots did the initial progress report. So once we brought in the kind of like things we can brush up on, things that we need to do, technology was one of them. So what we did is, we had our workshop meetings in 2023, we worked through those. We went through several, I wouldn't say bids, but we got quotes from several companies that do technical work to put computers into our thing. We did some bidding that way. We obtained some bids for the security portion of it, the cybersecurity of it. We looked at 4 or 5 website companies that would do that process. We put them all into a folder that we did, and these were all the cheapest portions of those bid packets that we did through executive sessions, or not executive sessions, but through, I would say, the workshops that we had in 2023. It took almost a year to get the approval through the state, through the stamp program, and now we were awarded those with those amount numbers on it. And now we executed the purchases. They're working through it, and they're going to install next week.
That's the other question I have is, are we authorizing payment before we approved or seen the property? I know in our policy, we're not supposed to release payment until whatever it is has been delivered and checked out and passes approval, like the website or whatever else. And again, I've never had this happen before, where we're actually getting something, paying for it before we actually get it.
Sure, so I don't know the finalities of the STNP program, but I can tell you that when I look at those individual line item purchases, 2 of them are below the threshold for bids, which is $22,250, and then the other 2 look like they're for professional services, which are an exemption to bidding. You don't have to bid out professional services, which would be like web security and things like that. So that's just my 2 cents on the bidding issue, but I don't know the finalities of the STNP off the top of my head.
I think you have to show that you have the money before you get the
You
grant.
have to have it all planned out with your amount that you plan for. So we applied for that. We're at a 10% or 20% match to that program, 20% match. So we sent all that in. That was done through resolution in, I think, the spring of this year, of the total amount that was being spent on the stamp program and the amount that we were gonna owe and what the amount the grant came. The grant came back at, what, $93,000 a couple weeks back?
I don't mean to disagree, but don't believe the amounts were in the resolution. The resolution was just that we were applying for.
I'm not sure. I don't have the resolution in front of me.
It was
but-
in March. It was in the.
But I know when we went through the whole program, we knew we needed technology, so it kind of comes down to, we get finite into our purchasing thing. It states that, like MG Soft is our IT guy, so they're kind of like locked into that unless you're going outside the IT, because he's got to put all our security measures in there, works on constantly, every day, that is making sure all our licenses are updated, our emails are working properly. We get a glitch, he comes in and corrects our stuff, so he does the internal workings of that, and all the tools that come with it, we went through him, because it's a one-stop shop.
Right, that is in our policy, that is in part of it. It says if you've got something for extenuating reasons like that, you have to stay with it, you do that. But as far as like, none of this was stuff that we had voted on, and you're talking about.
It's what we went through workshop
Right.
meetings all in 2023,
Right.
it wasn't in 2024, it was 2023.
But it wasn't voted on. This needs to be, my thought was it needs to be approved for the spending, that's all.
I mean, that's the that's the stamp program, so I mean, we approved the resolution to move forward with the projects, that's what you told me to do. We went through that, we sent it all into the stamp program, they approved it, and we're here today because we're moving the stamp program forward.
Well, I'm all for getting that in place as soon as possible. I see what Doug's saying is we need to be aware of all that's going on, I guess.
We were aware of it.
We were aware of it, and now
There was
it's
multiple
just taking
people
a
who
year
put
to
bids
come
in for the
to fruition.
website. Doug, I remember you were there at that one, remember the one with $60,000 for a website, and you were like, that's totally ridiculous?
Well, that was the one where we passed a resolution to apply for the grant, and I said that was, but at that point, we hadn't approved it. And again, it's just a matter of, we approved all of the spending for everything.
We approved all the individual packages that we had, and we kind of went with the cheapest of them all, except for the IT guy, because he's in-house.
As far as your recommendation goes, there's not gonna be a legal issue with this.
No, if, you all passed a resolution approving this scheme of payouts, which it sounds like the STMP included as part of the application, a scheme of payouts that were provided to whoever is funding the STMP program.
That was not part of, we had the initial resolution to apply, and a second resolution to apply for this phase. None of those had schemes for payouts.
So the resolution probably, I'm assuming, was part of a large package, that's what it sounds like to me. Normally, when you all get the grant resolutions, it might not include the entire package of the application for the grant. Do you normally get the whole package of the grant application to take a look at?
This is the first one.
Yeah. Yeah, normally what comes before the board is the resolution, and then if there's any additional questions as to what the particular scheme looks like, that would be something that you would go to Ron to and talk
Yes,
about.
Would we approve
Back in
that?
2023.
If you approve the resolution to submit the application, and that was part of the application, then that's been approved.
And in 2023, we put that into the general budget of $120,000 going out and $100,000 coming in. The total package for the STEM program was $120,000.
Well, but we wrote our policy too, though. One of the things that we actually talked about this at great length was if something's in the budget, it's automatically approved. And the board's answer to that was no. It's not approved. It has to come back when it's time to make the purchase. We approved the purchase. That was, remember that discussion?
We'd like to be aware of it.
Exactly.
2023, we had multiple workshop meetings about the vendors that were coming into it. The board supervisors agreed on what vendors they were going to do during those workshop meetings. When it came to budget time, we budgeted enough money to cover that, and the money coming in and the money going out, and our 20% that we had to add to it. It wasn't a capital fund program, it was a general account problem.
Can
We
you-
did it that way.
Can you do that in a workshop? Can you agree to your vendors and make purchases like that in a
We
workshop?
agreed to that, and then when we passed the
We agreed to the
resolution of how much money you're spending,
Have a
that's what you did.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was a resolution
Yeah.
for that.
yeah,
What Ron's saying is all that was discussed at a workshop. Then there was a resolution.
okay. Cause I'm familiar with the resolution enough that I don't remember seeing like a dollar amount in there at all.
Well, there has to be a dollar amount to get the grant.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing, is that it's not, I know that there's not a dollar amount in the resolution.
Yeah, so it was probably, like I said before, I don't wanna sound like a broken record, but I imagine it was part of the total application package, and the resolution is just one facet of the application package.
Where would the rest of, like, where would those dollar amounts get recorded for what was,
So I'd like to be on an Excel file.
what was approved or allocated, like where would? How can we see what was approved?
The resolution will tell you what was approved, and over the last, I say through 2024, when you receive my weekly reports, it says working on stamp program, working on stamp program, working on stamp program, putting it all together. I mean, that's what happens on a daily basis here. I mean, you gave me the authorization, this is what we're applying for, the topics we're filling in this, and then we sat down and we talked about vendors that were gonna apply for those.
Yeah.
We got those vendors, we had 3 or 4, some of them, you only had one, because one was like a Snap-on computer for it was specific to that. Nobody else makes Snap-on
Right.
computer for the police guard other than Snap-on. So that was only one.
So it sounds like also from just what Ron is saying here, that these are bills that came in the ordinary course of things. They're not projects that were awarded or projects that are outside of what was contemplated for the budget. If this was a bid award, you would have to individually approve the bid award or a change order or anything subsequent that would affect a contract like that. But if this was part of a larger, like purchasing scheme that was contemplated under a grant, now is when it's coming before you for approval as part of this bills package.
It sounds like we just need another step in there, Ron.
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Just, in the future, bring us before a meeting compilation of what this all entails. so that if there is a question, it can be handled before
Well, I
then.
think where the gap is, when you formulate down into trying to get a finite number, and then you apply for a grant, it's a year later.
That's where we're,
I mean, you're talking,
that's the problem, it's a year later.
September of 2023 is when you narrow
There's a
this
lot
down
of
and
water
say,
under the
go
bridge.
into this.
That's not-
And then, actually, when you get awarded the grant, then I call these vendors back, and it's like, well, we gave you that in 2023. I'm like, well, I didn't get my funding until 2024, August, or October.
We want that.
So we had to work some things on, I'm like, I have to hold you to it because you said it was 2, and most of them did, because they want more money, because it's a year and a half later. So I think you guys did this, I know you did this, because I have the whole stamp file there.
Usually I go back through the minutes, and like, it was March or April, we approved the boiler, and with a vote, and we go back, we have garage doors, we approved the garage door purchases, and a lot of those are not anywhere near this. I know
That's
that
not
with-
under the stamp program.
with Current International LLC, their program that they submitted said you'll pay half at the beginning, you'll pay another quarter, and then when the conclusion and approval, then we'll pay for the last quarter. But in this case, and that's what kind of caused me to look back and say, well, wait a minute, why are we paying for all these things we haven't even gotten them yet?
That was all decided on in 2023. Like it was August, like the summer coming up to the budget. Then when the budget came, I'm like, all right, just remember, we have the stamp program. We need to
Yeah,
budget.
I mean, we're saying
It's not normally like we ride everything on the LSA grants, ride on the capital program, because you don't even know if you're getting them. You're just
Right,
gonna
right,
get them. But we
right.
knew we were getting this
But we
one.
approved the spending, that's the point.
Correct,
So
you did.
anyway, I think it also is good that we have it in the minutes, that we voted and approved this amount of money for whatever, for future, that's the way I think it should be.
Yeah, we just need one more step in.
Let's see what that resolution says, because I think it says it in the resolution.
Okay. Anything further on that, guys?
So I guess my question then is, do we go ahead and leave this as it is, or do we wanna put that step in on these four?
I think we can do it in the future. I think these need to be in so we get these cybersecurity and the websites.
When will they be delivered? When's the
Edmunds-
website gonna be done,
Edmunds
next week?
Computers Property Management Program is, or we've already launched that. The computer systems have been ordered. Cybersecurity is working with MG Soft now to put in what they need to do with our computers, and then they're gonna start creating training on it.
The other question I have, is there any conflict with giving the Grassroots Solutions a portion of their recommendations back as a job? Awarding that, and they're the only person that we got a quote from
It's the only one I could find that was only that cheap.
to write a manual,
I just wanna, kind of for the public, clarify this conversation a little bit. Normally, and I know a lot of you work in this space in general and are familiar with grants, so I don't wanna be, repeating anything that you all already know, but normally when you have a grant that a board has approved application for, and then if there's an award, like there was in this case, you're not gonna see an action item for it again until a bid is awarded under that grant program and funds need to be expended. And in this case, the funds were authorized under the initial resolution, and none of the subsequent awards required bidding for, because they were under the bidding thresholds or they were under an exception for professional services. So that's the conversation that's going on right now, is because those weren't brought up in the interim for those various reasons. So I just wanna put that out there. But the next time, if you guys did, like, let's say one of these LSA grants were approved,
Did you
For-
just read the resolution? Did you just look it up? I'm just curious, just look it up.
which one?
The one that we're talking about.
Oh, no, that's from what Ron has said,
Oh, I see.
has, the scheme as part of the application package, which isn't out of the ordinary, but, so for instance, let's say if one of these LSA grants were awarded in the future for a municipal building roof, and that exceeded the $2,250 bid threshold, or whatever it's gonna be next year, they change it every year, you guys would have an action item to award that bid, or authorize the expenditure of funds for, materials for the roof if it was an in-house job. So that's the next time you would get it.
All right. Any additional clarification, you guys all good? Any motion? Same bill.
All right, I move to pay the bills from the general and stormwater account as submitted.
Second.
Motion is second. Any additional questions or comments?
No, I'm good.
Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Based on advice of council, yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Public comments. At this time, we'll entertain public comments. Comments limited to 3 minutes per person. Public comments. Go ahead, Larry.
Hi, good evening. I just wanted to ask if you could provide me with an update concerning your additional discussions about the tonal noise disturbance being emitted by the DMS facilities.
Well, we've had discussions on it, Larry, and this time we're not gonna move forward on it. As far as the tonal noise, as far as the additional action, the township has spent substantial amount of money, and so is the complainant, I guess you call it, factor of it. And they have complied and are within our present ordinances. So at this time, we're not gonna move forward with any additional action unless something else changes.
Well, I do believe they're not in compliance with the ordinance cited within their notification that they received from our previous solicitor that they were violating the ordinance. That was the cause of action, not our existing noise ordinance. And specifically, it's the nuisance ordinance and the zoning ordinance regulating light industrial uses to those that do not cause disturbance to other uses in the community. So those were the causes of action. The tonal noise disturbance, regardless of about their efforts or lack of efforts, or what money they spent, continues to exist unabated. And it is at levels that it was 2 years ago when they received notice of non-compliance. And I recently submitted a technical report to the township, clearly demonstrating using standard accepted methods of determining tonal audibility that needs to be mitigated, that the tonal noise continues to exist.
And I think your submission is also in opposition to the studies that the complainant has.
The complainant had 2 studies completed. Neither one of them proposed a solution for the tonal noise. The second one proposed a solution clearly stating that they did not know what effect it would have upon the tonal noise.
I know I've attended meetings with it. I know they've done at least a round.
I have the written report as provided by permission of Buncher and DMS stating exactly what I stated. The first one could not identify the source of the tonal noise. And their recommendation was to hang 9 acoustic blankets inside the building with the hope that it would address the noise. So my time has expired. I will provide you with additional report, technical, as well as a complete history of everything that has transpired since the township notified Buncher of the violation of 2 of our ordinances. I hope you will read it, understand it, reassess, and make a different decision.
Thank you for your comment, Larry.
Thank you.
Any additional comments? Any MS4 comments? Okay, moving on administration, treasurer's report. You guys all got a treasurer's report today, a couple of them. Information. Next is big item B, the first reading of the budget information.
You ready, Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Millage for 2025, 1.65. Fire millage for 2025, 0.3. Real estate taxes. $1,651,000. 3.1000, Act 500 taxes, 1,158,500. 320.000, licenses and permits, $23,460. 321.000, business licenses and permits, $136,000. 322.000, non-business license permits, $200. 331.000, fines, $35,060. 341.000, interest earnings, $55,000. 342.000, rent and royalties, $30,000. 351.000, federal cap operating grants, $83,333. 354.000, state cap and operating grants, $125,000. 355.000, state shared revenue, $258,700. 361.000, charges for services, $141,030. Public safety, 362.000, $181,221.37. Highways and streets, 363.000, $4,000. 364.000, sanitation, $78,000. 365, stormwater, $0. 367, recreation programs, $12,200. 380.000, miscellaneous revenues, $46,000. 390, other financing sources, $532,580.69, for a total revenues in 2025, $4,551,285. Expenditures for 2025, $400.000, general government, $108,400. Tax collection, $403.000, $118,500. 405.000, administration office, $330,980.64. Township building, $409.000, $76,400. 410.000, police public safety, $1,776,550.77. Grant expenses, 410.301, $0. Fire protection, 411.000, $454,500. Planning and zoning, 414.000, $121,150. Health and sanitation, 420.000, $32,550. 430, highways, $1,177,507.49. 440.000, cemeteries, $6,000. 446.000, stormwater, MS4, $0. 451.000, recreation, $70,434. 465.000, community development, that is your stamp program, $120,000. Debit services, 470.000 is $0. 486.000, miscellaneous benefits, $131,300. 492.000, interfund transfers, $25,962.10. 500.000, bank charges, $1,050. Total expenditures for 2025, $4,551,400. $4,551,285. This is a zero balance budget. Capital Reserve Fund for 2025. Projected interest is $6,500. Act 13 transfer is $100,000. General account transfer, $25,962.10, which total revenues is $132,462.10. Expenditures for 2025 out of the capital fund is generators for the municipal building for $40,000. A fuel tank for the municipal building, $20,000. Total expenditures, $60,000. Anticipated fund balance as of 2024 is $434,009.09. And that's the first reading.
Wasn't the perfect. Is there something to do?
Well, no.
Just the reading, the purpose of just the reading.
Okay, so later on we can talk about it.
Okay, first reading. Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
Item number C, advertise CPA to complete the 2024 budget audit. I'm sorry, let me state that again. Advertise the CPA to complete the 2024 audit. Take action on that.
I have a question about that. So, this is to advertise for the audit to be done on this year, right? Last month, we had a bill from, I think, Mark Turnley. And I asked what that was, and I was told that was for the audit for this year. So, my question is, what was that bill for the audit that he just completed for 23?
Correct.
So that was for, okay, for 23. Are there any other audits that go on, like, or is it just one unique audit?
You have your state audit, which currently completes for us. That's it. So that's when it gets sent to the state.
Okay.
If we don't use the elected auditors, which we don't, by law, we have to advertise that. So that's what this is for. So
Okay.
that ad can go in the paper.
Okay.
We choose to use an outside firm.
Yeah, I was confused because of the bill that we got last month. That's
It usually comes every quarter, I believe, correct?
Because when they're working on the audits, we shouldn't get another one until they start the audit again.
And by the way, that was, as far as I recall, was all in order. Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
All right. Thanks.
any other questions? Need a motion?
I move to approve the advertising for CPA to complete the 2024 audit.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug.
Yes.
Fritz.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Okay, these next matching grants, if you guys, unless somebody disapproves, let's do these all together. D, E, and F.
I move to put the E and F into an omnibus motion.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no?
I had a question for this NST grant stands for,
Local share account,
and where does that money come from?
from what I understand, it's the money that comes from the gambling revenue from the state.
Okay.
What these are is approve a LSA grant for municipal building roof replacement. Also LSA grant to pave Rothart Drive and Crucial Road. Also an LSA grant to pave Harkins Mill Road. all of these are with no matching funds from the township.
I move that we approve the omnibus motion for the LSA grants with no match.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second?
Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and there would be resolutions that will have to be passed with that, if we could do that all in the same motion.
Can we add a resolution to that?
Wouldn't that take part of the extra, well, no, we would have the resolutions once they're written.
They're due November 31st, so we don't have another voting meeting to
No, no, no.
So,
Okay. We approved the omnibus motion for the grants, do we have to go back and do the one to approve the resolutions then?
So the motion is, I move to apply for LSA grant B through F, that's what we're talking about, correct?
Correct.
To me, that would, I mean, just my interpretation would be that includes the approval of the resolution, because that, you need the resolution to apply.
All one motion.
So it would be a motion to approve items 8B through F.
Yeah. I heard you.
We have a motion that's
We
on
have
the
a-
floor, we have to vote.
We have to vote, so, any additional questions or comments on those three? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Fritz, Mike,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. All right. Item number G, workshop request to discuss safety and communications. TVP playground edging correction, which has already been done. Or worked on. And Big Knob Fire Department, stormwater management. Discussion.
Could we also, just because of this earlier conversation, should we have some discussion on purchasing? Get good opportunity to use that time.
Yes, I agree with that, because we need to talk about how to subdivide up our funds, the approvals, the funds that are in our accounts now.
Can we add that now then? So
Let's add funding to that.
It's actually on your working agenda for your workshops, the fiscal policy.
It's already in it?
It's already on it. And
Okay.
also,
What day is that for?
November 16th, I think.
No,
November
12.
and also on that, Baseball Association contacted, they will be here also to talk about.
Baseball? Baseball.
I make a comment about the Big Knob Fire Department for the stormwater. I am not available at 12 to meet. Is there an alternative date that we could possibly set that up for?
Can you do it remotely?
Possibly. Well, no, I have two other meetings that evening. I have one at 5 and one at 7.
Are you able to send somebody else from your?
Actually, the meeting is with members of the fire department, so.
Can you start here? Bring them.
What time?
6:30.
We could do it right away, because we have one at 5 and then another one starting at 7, so we could do the fire department portion right away, and then we can get out. That's fine.
That's perfectly fine. Let's
Okay.
do that.
It is.
It's important that you guys, you know.
Kevin, would you be available for that?
Which day?
November 12th.
November 12th, in the evening, 6:30.
I should be, yeah.
Oh, John Bowen's still. This is how many.
Yeah, I should be, this is on the stormwater.
Yep. Okay.
Good. Okay.
I have on my calendar, a workshop meeting on the 19th as well.
That would have been for budget, but we canceled the,
No, that's right.
that was
That was
for
the
budget.
9 a.m.
That would have been at 9 a.m. on the 19th?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a 9 a.m. one.
Yep, that is your board's regular scheduled workshop night, second Tuesday of each month. So that's why we kept all those at 6:30. And then the extra budget meetings moved to 9, because that's happening.
Okay. So, the third. So there's no more budget workshops?
No.
When do we discuss the rest of the budget on the meeting?
The last budget meeting,
When is the last budget meeting? Is that in December?
that was in October.
We'll figure that out then, okay. I just wanted
It was at 9 AM.
to be in sync, that's all.
Okay, H, accept donation. And the MOU, I guess that's the unit itself from the memo of understanding. Accept the donation and memo of understanding from the Lever Foundation for one AED to be installed at Green Valley Park.
One question before we, Dave, I never thought of this till just as we're sitting here. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah. Might need it for me one day.
Just thinking we never asked.
You might think ahead of where you might want to put that thing.
Way Park.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to take action on it.
I move that we accept the donation and the memorandum of understanding from the Lever Foundation for one AED to be put in Green Valley Park.
I'll second it.
Motion is second. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Public safety. Police. Did you get a police report? I don't know if I got a chance to read that.
You did.
How many school buses did we catch?
There were at least 5 that I saw when I skimmed over.
Going the wrong way, it's worse instead of better.
Now that we're doing a better, I don't know, I can't win. with
Keep
school
it up,
buses.
no matter what you're doing, keep it up. Keep our kids safe.
I think he's inflating the numbers.
Is it playing?
I think he's inflating the numbers.
No, I actually I personally saw 2. And one was a triaxle dump.
That's bad.
That's pretty bad. Still, accidents down there on,
I don't know that we had any this past month.
I came through there last night and lit up like a Christmas tree. There's flashing lights everywhere, there's street lights on bright. All they can do is slow down. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you.
We do have a meeting scheduled with Senator Vogel on the 15th
15th,
of this month.
what time?
You accepted it already.
I know I didn't.
Let's say it's 10 o'clock.
But it didn't go to my calendar.
All right,
I'll have
just
to
wanted to
open
make
my
sure.
calendar, I get to see it. 15th.
I think it's 10 a.m.
Pretty coffee away, you know, pretty quick. Yeah, I'm good, but,
Okay, anything else we need to be aware of, Chief?
The only other thing, Snyder, or Whites Hill Road's gonna be closed between the entrance to the lower park and the upper park on Saturday. The Boy Scouts are hosting a 5K. It'll be closed roughly between 10 and 12, while that race is going on. I put that out on social media today to kind of, I'll share it again Friday and possibly Saturday morning.
I guess the rep will talk about the trick or treats. About it for police. All right, still on police, item number B, police. Approve Ethan Fuchs for the Beaver County Emergency Services Unit. We'll take action on that.
I move that we approve Ethan Fuchs for the Beaver County Emergency Services Unit.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Please give a conditional offer of employment for one full-time officer.
I move to give conditional offer for employment for one full-time officer.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Approve the police agreement, service agreement with Marion Township.
I move to approve the police service agreement with Marion Township.
Second. Motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Just make sure you collect on those guys, chief. I'll put it in.
I know where they live.
Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
Fritz, Mike,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. Fire departments, monthly reports submitted. We just got one tonight. Guys care to comment?
We've submitted our financial summary and October calls for service. We also sent our annual calls of service summary. I thought it'd be worthwhile to go over the highlights of that. Fiscal year 2023-2024, from November 1st to 23 through October 31st of 2024. Pine Run had a total of 510 calls for service. They're actually broken down in 23 categories. I promise not to read them all. But 7 of the categories made up 470 of the calls. And they were fire alarm, 39 calls, structure fire, 39 calls, crash with injuries, 24 calls, odor of gas, 14 calls, brush fire, 24 calls, trees and wires down, 27 calls, and the best for last, 275 QRS calls, which gave us an average for the year of around 54% of all of our calls are QRS over that fiscal year period. Some other happenings over the last month. Freedom High School had a orange out night at one of their football games for Holden Ekman. Holden's a young man battling leukemia, and we decorated one of our trucks in orange, and some of our members went over and supported that event. Freedom Halloween Parade, we sent a number of trucks there, and a couple of our firefighters actually dressed up as firemen and walked down the street with the kids. So they got a kick out of that. Most recently, the trick-or-treat trail. Both departments were well represented there. We gave out a total of 698 bags of potato chips and ran out, and we luckily got through with a half a case of water for the stragglers. I want to recognize and commend the junior firefighters from Big Knob. They did a great job helping out at that event, so my hats off to them. And just last night, we had an interdepartmental joint training in fire dynamics put on by Chief Stowe, Beaver Falls, well attended by both departments. A couple merger things. The Orphans Court, Beaver County actually issued a rule to show cause for anyone objecting to the merger of the 2 fire departments. That's scheduled for December 2nd. And they've also scheduled a hearing for December 3rd if anything comes out of that rule issue. And we're advised that there will be no hearing, and the judge will sign that order on December 2nd if there's no reasonable objections. So it's going to be a big milestone for us. And we've had communications with the county solicitor. We will be receiving grant money from them to cover, I hope, the majority of our merger expenses. But as soon as the judge approves that order, we can get that in the works. We also received a state fire commissioner's grant, which we're going to use to update some of our turnout gear. I think that's all I have.
Fantastic job, you guys. Appreciate all your efforts, and when you put it on paper like that, it really shows how dedicated you are to the community and how much you actually do.
It takes a lot of folks to do all
Yeah,
that.
yes, it does. And you guys, well, it takes a lot of good leadership too, and you guys are providing that. So we appreciate that.
I think we should give them a hand.
Just a couple other things to touch on the Big Knob side. We also received the state grant. We're going to be purchasing more turnout gear as well. with the new branding on it for New Sewickley Fire District, as everything is going to proceeding very quickly here. In our meeting next week, we actually are going to be voting on the new officers, both administrative and the operational side. We held nominations last month, so these will be the new officers that will take over when the merger is complete. Other than that, everything is pretty much status quo, as Jim said. I do want to stress on the QRS side that over half of the calls that both departments respond to are medical related. And just take note of that, supervisors, in the future here when we're looking at options down the road. I know it was brought up at one of the agendas a couple months ago. I'm not sure where that stood now, but just keep that in mind for the future here. We may need to look at that more closely.
Could you recap that for us, Steve, what that proposal was?
It was brought up about possibly putting staffing on certain hours of the day when manpower in the buildings and in the community is low due to people working. Our best time that we have most people is your 4 to midnight hours. After that, pretty much everybody around here works daylight now. There's not as much of the shift work as there was back in the 70s and 80s when you had different people around throughout the day. So the proposal was put out to possibly look about putting people in the station on a part-time basis to help cover the calls during the day. And I don't have the printout, but we could look and see and just give an idea in the future. This is something to move forward with. How many calls are actually done between midnight and 4 o'clock the following day, just to see when the most busy times are, if this proposal will move forward in the future. So, but thank you again for your consideration of that.
Thank you.
One other thing that we need to bring up, I noticed today, that Pennsylvania's in a drought situation.
Yeah, they are.
And you guys are heavily defending our brush and...
We did. We had actually a very large brush fire Sunday evening over at Keystone Tree property. They were there for almost 7 hours.
And in the process, the water lines were compromised.
There was 2 or 3 of them, I believe. One on Mabel, one at 9th Street Hill, and I believe one in downtown Freedom that actually broke on the Beaver Falls water system.
I could be wrong, but I heard there was a total of 6.
Yeah, that wasn't relayed to me. I know of 3 personally, and they ended up moving the water movement over to the Fritz Farm and then pulling water actually out of Penn Energy's water storage facility they have there.
But thanks for all your hard work on that and containing it. Thanks for that.
They were actually back over there again yesterday, hitting some hot spots yesterday evening. They found some. Yeah.
I know that was a huge
It
problem.
was. There was 4 or 5 different departments there to help us actually.
Maybe we need to put something on our website for drought. Conservation of water, number 1, and also burning. It's,
Yeah,
the board hasn't really talked about it.
Leaves are the biggest thing this time of year. There's a little gust of wind can pick leaves up burning and take them several hundred feet away from where
Now's
they're
the time
at.
people want to burn leaves, so we should almost ban burning leaves at this time, until we have some kind of thing. I don't know what you guys feel about it.
First off, it's already covered with the burning ordinance. The second, we will make a reminder that we're under dry conditions. Do we need an ordinance to do or a resolution to make it official?
Yeah, well, we don't do that for
That's what I'm saying. We just put a reminder up that.
Just a reminder, be careful burning, and you're gonna burn, notify the fire department first.
Some people do. There are some good people that leave messages and let us know when they are going to be having a brush fire and things, but a lot of people still don't. So, but thank you.
Appreciate your efforts. And we do notice, I read those reports, and I do notice a lot of your calls are those EMS type calls. It's always over half.
It is. It's a lot.
Understand.
The QRS calls are recorded under the Pine Run side right now because we switched everything over to their licensure. So Big Dog responded to 20 calls last month. I think Pine Run was 45. So we get dispatched together. So there was 20 fire calls and 25 QRS calls for the month. So
I know our police go out on that too.
Mhm.
So you guys are in conjunction with them. Okay. Road department, RJ. Anything the board needs to be made aware of?
We finished a concrete job on Park Quarry Road, just doing our fall stuff. Looks like fall's gonna be here till December. So, keep on keeping on.
Well, just grease those plows. Don't do anything with it. Keep them ready
The
to go.
kids finished painting the one at Freedom High School. We're gonna go down and I guess take pictures with
What are you gonna paint with the plow?
the kids, original, the middle school kids painted one of our plows.
Okay, good.
Okay, you wanna say a little thing about the cemetery that you guys worked with?
We worked with Bill Steele. Bill Steele did a ton of work. He, cleaned up the cemetery and we moved all the headstones out. It was a project Bill's been wanting to do for years and it turned out really well. Got a little more work to do, but I think it's a good thing for the township.
I was over and see what you did. You guys did a lot of work. Bill did a lot of work. It looks good.
Yeah, the guys, I mean, Brad and Matt were on their hands and knees pulling gravestones out and,
A lot of cleanup.
they worked their tails off.
Were you successful at finding any dirt?
We did find some. We have to move all those gravestones again now. So, yeah,
Gently.
they're not light and it's a lot of work. So we're gonna go back over.
Good load of work.
A lot of handwork too, so we don't bust them and,
Yeah, careful.
so,
Good job.
Anything else? Yeah, great job on that.
just working for the Lord, that's all.
Biggest engineering. I shall read the monthly report. And B, approve the LSSE.
Can we back up for a second? I have a question about the monthly report.
Go ahead.
Kevin, when we use bold on these reports, that's to indicate changes or new things or?
That's work that was completed in the last month. Sometimes it says no update. You'll see a lot of it is dated October. Things that it may have hit right at the last meeting, like MS4 report, we left that bold for another month. We submitted the annual report in September. So it's items that's been completed. And then italics just means we're carrying it month to month.
I'm sorry, what'd you say, the italic?
Italics means it's not new, but it's something that's been worked on in this year, and there may be work in the future on. It's just a way to bring the board's eye to something that's new, so.
Okay. Yeah, I just like looking down, like with the ordinance revisions and stuff, like it's bold, the comp plan is bold, service order.
Yeah, the titles are bold, but then in italics, it's just that it was adopted.
Okay.
And then the next steps in the comp plan, for instance, the war waiting direction, that's been the same, for a few months. So in 2025, I think there's some tasks that the board will look at.
Yeah, it's just confusing to see the bold used sometimes for new, sometimes not for new.
Yeah, I can add the word action.
It was just a little confusing. I've been wanting to ask.
Well, one thing maybe makes sense just to take the first page and do what's current and then any of that back burner stuff, there's a follow-up for, pages.
Yeah,
Rather than blending together, you got stuff like here, but, the comprehensive plan, that's all closed and done for, yeah, I get you're gonna revisit or something that, maybe the front page ought to be that, we reviewed this, we surveyed that, the things we did this month. Just a suggestion, almost it's sometimes difficult to sort through and figure out what's still.
Yeah, I think other than the comp plan, everything else that's listed is accurate.
I think most of these grants are closed now.
You have some you're waiting on, some you've been awarded, some won't be awarded till next year. So these are pending ones, we take them off after.
Because I know we just reapplied for the LSA grants.
Yeah, they were just, the last group was, you applied for last year. This is the first time we could report to you that they're not awarded. So it's on here tonight in bold.
I thought you meant they hadn't awarded them, I saw that not awarded.
When you weren't awarded, that come out 2 weeks ago. So this is where, you find out that they weren't awarded.
Hey, before we start the next two, can Ron and RJ give everybody kind of an update on the present state of our sewer system here at the township and this whole area here? And how is it functioning at this moment?
Well, the municipal building flows out to the back. It's pumped every month, or maybe every 2 months, because it flow out to the leach bed. The road department to the salt shed, and we've never done nothing to that. So it functions mysteriously.
So our system here is pretty much deteriorated. Is that an accurate? I mean, if we're getting that pumped every month or two, and
Then you have the new building over there has no sewage system.
has
to it.
not at all in
So
it.
we're trying to figure something to combine all three together.
And I understand that the police and you guys get some smell from this toward the end of the,
Yeah, when we start to smell, we have to go find septic. to get
If it's
it
not pumped out, it'll back up and get it possible.
okay, I wonder because these next two are sort of directly involved with that, so Kevin, if you want.
Well, RJ was able to come up with a map for a hand-drawn
Right.
potential location for some of this stuff.
Tom Milligan made that map, it's finally done. And working as it, so far as it should, but I know that there's a lot of problems with theirs.
What it looks like is we're driving heavy equipment and stuff that we talk about, paved roads and police field over. It's over in front of our shed, police field. So when they added the leach field, they didn't take into account there's a leach field there. When they added the shed, I'm sorry. But anyway, there's some things we need to review here and need to look at, so.
So can you explain these next two, Kevin, because they're kind of
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, B and C, so when you got a one-lot system, which you do, you have here, one of the items you have to have is topographic survey, because the first step is review all the existing contours, and you come up with what's the possibilities, based on the grades, for where, septic field could go. You have to methodically go through on a site, what type of sewage can go on it, whether it can be conventional sand mound, and then eventually you get to, a lot of times here especially, you get to a non-standard system, low flow treatment, something like that. But the first step in that is survey, the good property boundary, and locate where the existing facilities are if you can. And then we have a environmental engineer that specializes in low flow treatments, sand mound designs, all those things. After the survey is done, in item B, he'll come out under item C and look at what the alternatives are, what your flows actually are coming out of the facilities, and then what your future flows are from the facility. And then he'll come up with what would meet the code. He will meet with the SEO. They have to be part of it. Yours is Jeff Winkle. Him and Jeff Winkle will walk the site, confirm or deny, whether or not a site works. Jeff has to be part of that. Public Works will have to help us. There's holes that needs dug, things like that, as part of item C. And then we'll come back with, okay, here's what can be done, and then what the potential cost is for what that is. So I think for sewage, that's the next step. I don't know that you can't on the site do a conventional system that would work, no large sand mound, but I don't know that you can either. I don't know if there's any site here that would work. On the
Like I said, you still can, but you don't know that it's not likely.
Yeah, it's in the township, it's been very difficult to find acceptable sites, so. But if it's gonna be a low flow treatment, it also has to have a place to discharge it, and you wanna make sure you can meet the requirements for that. Since it's a commercial facility, long-term, that may be the best anyway for the township, but you have to meet those qualifications.
I got a question. As far as the survey goes, doing that first, and then you go and you dig like the test pits and whatnot, that cost of that survey, then you have to get the survey where you put the test pits, they have to be recorded on a map. So, or any of the soil testing for that matter. So my question is, does that cost include the survey that's done before and after? That's the cost to record everything, so it's not gonna be $6,500 and then another $1,500 to put the test pits on there.
No, B and C go together.
I just wanted to confirm.
Because when we do C, then we'll, locate those places that we have to do. The only thing it doesn't include is paying the SEO. You have charges from your SEO,
you have to pay them because there's a fee that in the fee schedule for them.
And what I wanted to be crystal clear on is, for this sewage system that you're investigating, that there's kind of two paths that we're taking. One is to fix the current system that's here and those recommendations. And the other path is including any additional loading from the other building, or combining the two into a giant system, or whatever the other recommendation would be. But I think it needs to be clear that there's two possibilities here.
Yeah, and the fixing of the existing system,
Or replacement of an existing.
will mostly
System.
be the SEO. Quite honestly,
Should we be talking to them first?
you can, he's gonna ask you for survey location, where's the existing system, because if the answer comes back from all that, you can't find it, or you can't find the outfall, then you're into locating where's your new system gonna be. So,
Well, that's what I mean, like, it's either fix the existing, a new system for the existing loading, and then the other option is a system that's being proposed here that's a combination of this system, the municipal building, the garage, the additional building, for a much larger loading than what we already have.
I think that's what we're talking about. We've always talked about, getting one big system to take care of downstairs, here,
Yeah,
and all the buildings, I mean.
And that's what I mean,
Six-
it's gotta be separated into at least two, so that your soils and whatnot, like, if you're gonna do all this design and it's for this big elaborate plan, then you're already approving all this construction and whatnot to be done in that building, and we're not approving that.
We're approving the septic coming out of it, how it's gonna come out of it, I'm sorry, Kevin, I need you to touch.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah,
Well, sure, yeah, but we didn't approve the put septic in that building.
Right.
B and C just looks at your alternatives to solve the septic, which you have a problem on site. You can.
Zero additional loading.
You can have a zero additional loading option and not put
Yeah.
restrooms in the other building.
That's what I'm
your-
saying.
That's your choice. We would only, under the finishing the floors, you can use the majority of the building.
Because that goes
We
into
would
what
just-
system you design, is the loading.
You will have loading for sewage. You can't have loadings for the floor drains, and we can take that to a pit under the current building, just to get the garage bays and everything in, just like any other garage. You don't have to take that to a sewer system. But if we put restrooms in the building, which I believe the long-term plan is to do that, B and C takes a look at this building, the existing building, that you have reported publicly, non-functioning systems. That you're gonna look at how do you fix that? And the answer to that could be that you need a new system. And then the board would know that, because right now,
Right,
all
we
you
need a
know
new
is they don't
system
function.
for this building, not all the other buildings, that's what I'm saying.
And that building,
Well, that building is not having a malfunction.
you don't know that. You haven't tested it in there.
But yeah, he said it's just disappears.
What I'm saying is that there needs to be two paths. This building, and then combined all the buildings. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
'Cause there needs to be
It'll
two
leave it-
paths, not just one, and then all of a sudden, it's, well, we did all this engineering for this big elaborate system, so now we have to do this.
Yeah, it's not a lot of engineering, it is just an analysis of what can you do on the site, that's it.
In our last discussion, one of the things we as a board discussed was the idea of should we be applying for a grant, because we just got done with the budget, and there's not money if you do come up with a solution, there's no place to pay for that. So should we just roll this into a grant for the whole project and start an application for that, rather than piecemealing out $5,000, $6,500, and then we don't know where we're going, we don't have money for it anyway.
I think the idea is, same as any grant, that is if you know what the problem is you're trying to solve and the magnitude of it, and you rise on the list of the grant. If you just throw out a number of what you think the solution is.
Could this be a bid or a number for LSE to prepare those numbers for a grant, rather than doing this survey?
We applied for 6 grants this year, Ron, how many did we get?
We didn't get any yet.
We didn't get in.
Well, we got a stamp program.
From last year, though, we got 0, right, out of 6. We applied for it. Is that right?
Correct.
This
Okay,
work,
so chances of us, if we have a septic system here that's malfunctioning right now, then we're gonna wait for some years in the future when we get a grant to do it.
My point is, we just finished going through the budget, we've got 0 money left, you've got 400,000 period.
And my point is, we don't know what we need here. How are you gonna know? How are you gonna figure out what you need if you don't have any data to back it up?
I understand that, but the point is, if we took that money and used it towards getting the application for the
We
grant,
still have to find out.
he's gonna do that as part of the grant application. He's
No,
gonna,
you ain't gonna know what to do.
that's what they're,
Still gonna have to pay for
You
that.
don't know what to do.
That's
But this,
and I'm saying that's part of the grant application.
Well, then just,
They pay one time.
let's do this, let's just bring these two to a vote.
I'll do that. I move to approve LSSE to perform a topographical survey for public works interior renovations for $6,500.
Motion is second. Any additional questions or comments?
Marty, about a year or two
No
ago.
public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Roll call.
Steve,
Yes.
Doug,
no.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Now can I make a,
No, no public comment. Public comment was a while ago.
that's fine.
Item number C, approve LSSC to perform public works interior renovations, conceptual design for sewer system.
I move to
$5,000.
approve,
Go
I
ahead.
move to approve LSSE to perform conceptual design for the sewer system as part of the public works interior renovation for $5,000.
Second?
Motion and a second. Additional questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve,
No.
Doug,
No.
Fritz,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. We need numbers for that grant. Item number D, approve the LSFC Public Works interior renovations, preparation for bid documents for the concrete floor, $140,000, HVAC, $125,000, electrical excluding offices and restroom areas, $175,000. Bid package cost is $35,000.
I move we table this.
Board has decided to table this, item number D. No further action is required. Number E, approve the LSFD to prepare stormwater design for Noonan Street. Take action on that.
How much is this for?
Well, we asked also to have the letter written through the state for PennDOT.
So I was unable to get to that in the last week, but I was actually thinking because you asked for a letter related to Noonan Street and related to another building?
Greenwood Street Extension.
Okay, that those might be better coming from the township than from the township solicitor, just to kind of like make it a little less, like contentious, I guess, to have it come from the township. I could still write them and have them come on township letterhead, or Ron could write them and then I could take a look at them. But I was just thinking of what would be the, friendliest sort of way to reach the handout for that one, to make the introduction.
I think my intention was that if you had something that kind of spelled out, we have an obligation here, being legally impacted by your obligation here, and we're just reaching out and do that in the legal.
Give us, Kevin, a delineation of what part is PennDOT on Noonan Street and what part is Sewickley's responsibility? Because we end up with all the flow and the problem. But how much of that can you?
We'd have to look at it and see what the delineation is on the watershed.
That you understand what we're trying to do. We want to send a responsibility letter to PennDOT.
Where the water.
Where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it.
We're also trying to negotiate that they would work with us on this and take
Correct,
care of
yeah.
their part of it, either whether it's like in kind or reimbursement, or they'll take care of it in the next.
So I'm not waiting
So
here
we
to do
can
it.
fine tune
Yes,
it,
let's
but
do it.
I don't think it necessarily needs to be a legal letter. If we can have like engineering saying this is coming from your property onto the township.
I just thought maybe the clarification of what, this is our responsibility, this is your responsibility, that's why.
Yeah, no, it's difficult to make
So
that
go to
sort of
watershed
black and
breakout,
white
we should.
without actually having the engineering or like the historical information about
And
it.
you're doing that
the
analysis,
movement of
we're
the
gonna need
soil
that.
and site.
So Ron can write a letter. I guess it's gonna end up. Ron or Alexis will write the letter, or in conjunction will write the letter. Okay. We need to know that information, which, how much is theirs.
We can do even a little exhibit.
And maybe
That would be
even,
great, actually.
Picture would be worth 1,000 words probably this one.
give even your insight on how to get that letter
Mhm.
promptly reviewed.
And if you've also had other applications where this has been, yeah, we've done this on this street, we've done this over in Brazos, we've done this in this place, it's always worked out, we're asking for the same.
Mhm. That would be helpful.
But let's do the job and then try to get reimbursed. Not just leave it,
Well, so-
don't depend on the future sometime when we decide to think about it.
You could still make the authorization and then we can move ahead with sending a letter to PennDOT. And this would be authorized for just any time in the future to have this done. It's not like there's a date or a deadline on this.
Yeah, there's no cost associated with this, there's no
Cost is
information.
$15,000.
15,000.
15,000.
There's a memo that came out.
Out of stormwater.
Correct.
We need to add that to the motion, $15,000.
That's 4,500 for survey and 15 for the permit.
So
It's 19,500.
$19,500. Do I hear 25?
Funds, stormwater funds. We need a motion for that.
What did you have?
Just 1950 is the cost. Dave,
19,500.
19,500 is the cost from the MS four fund.
I move to approve LSSD to prepare a stormwater design for Newman Street, $19,500, and that comes out of the MS4 funds.
Second.
Motion and a second.
But this is not, this is all money that's already there. This is not on the budget.
No,
So MS,
MS four. Well, I mean, it's in our budget. but it's in our-
We have money to cover
There's
this.
money for it. And it's doing exactly what the MS four forms are. Motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve?
No.
Doug?
No.
Fritz?
Yes.
Mike?
yes.
Mark?
Yes. Solicitor, you want the report?
That was submitted and ready to.
Monthly progress reports, planning. Any information from our planning department?
Yeah, we sent you a couple documents that are on the agenda, so
Yes, you did.
we're winding down for the year.
Nothing further in those other two items? Okay, the next one up is approve the Tooch plan. Lots number 2, lot line revision with conditions. Are you allowed to call that a lot line revision?
That's what it is.
That is a
I
lot.
know that's what it is, but
Yes, you're allowed
always a
to.
subdivision, okay.
Yeah. I was thinking that when they were, presenting it, that was all I was.
Okay,
I move to approve the two plan lots number 2 lot line revision with conditions noted in the memo from the planning commission dated October 21st and the LSSD review letter dated October 25th.
I'll second.
motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Roll call.
Steve?
Yes.
Doug? Fritz?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes. Regis 2C, planning. Approve the application for final approval of Meadowcrest LP, planned residential development, and final approval of phase 1 subdivision with conditions and modifications. Take action on that.
I move to grant final approval of the Meadowcrest planned residential development with conditions and modifications as set forth in the November 4th, 2024 letter from the solicitor, and to grant final approval of the Phase 1 subdivision of Meadowcrest LP.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Al, is there any objections from the planning commission that we need to be aware of?
None.
Ron?
Nope.
Alexis?
No.
Okay.
Do we need to memorialize it in any way?
So, yeah, a letter will go out tomorrow morning to the applicant and it will CC you all, similar to, when the planning recommendation was sent out.
Okay. This is all we need further?
Yeah, this will be it until, phase 2 comes through,
Okay.
the subdivision.
Motion and a second. Roll call.
Steve,
No.
Doug,
Yes.
Fritz,
Yeah.
Mike,
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Municipal authority. Larry.
I guess provide an update, progress on the water line extension, 499 is progressing well, a little slower than anticipated, but the
Here we
contractor,
get some rock.
there are rocks and equipment problems. The contractor intends to mobilize additional drilling units. We are drilling, boring for most of the water line. So that should accelerate the schedule, and things will get easier after Rovine Road is done.
Pretty tough there.
Yesterday, we applied for a few more grants. In fact, we also reapplied for the Big Knob Extension Grant. We were awarded $250,000 out of a $2 million project. That's pretty tough. We were thinking about doing something smaller, but the upfront fixed costs of any project really in water line, it would make that very inefficient. And we were advised by engineering that if we accepted it, we'd close the door on additional grants for that project from the state in the future.
That was my question, it's project specific, that $250.
Project specific, yes, we can't move it.
Even though we need to.
But the additional grants are for some, to get the Fiesel Road, those properties, water line extension, Big Knob extension, some repairs. Harvey Run Road pipe is only 40 years old, but it's rather fragile. Speaking of that, we had a discussion last night about maybe having a refresher, maybe not for New Sewickley Township, but maybe for the other fire companies that assist, concerning operating valves on trucks and hydrants to try to minimize the shock loading when you close. When you get water moving down a pipe at a relatively large velocity, there's a lot of momentum there, and when you stop that water, you get a lot of kinetic energy.
Evidently, it's a lot of hammer.
A lot of force. And, that can pop a brand new pipe. If it's enough water and enough head. So, if you'd like to give that some thought about maybe setting something up, I'm sure Jay will do that.
Gary, how are you planning on getting to Fazell Road?
To where?
Fazell Road. You said that was part of your plan?
Well, there are properties along Lovi Road.
So you're coming on down from Dollar General and up and then?
Yeah, the alternative is to cut through the woods from 989, but what purpose? A lot of dead pipe.
Yes, I agree.
It doesn't serve anyone, and you create an additional water age that's not helpful.
So that was your plan, going down to Levi, Fazell, and then you start back?
I mean, the intent is to serve as many people as possible with the work we're doing. And other than that, it's budget time, so we're working towards that, and hopefully vendors and suppliers will treat us favorably this year.
New water's working out well, I guess.
New water has markedly improved quality and our ability to maintain chlorine residual. And the alternative was to invest a lot of money in equipment and have to invest money in operating it and put ourselves at risk of violating simultaneous compliance concerning chlorination byproducts, which are also regulated. So overall, long-term, it's going to save us money. And in the interim, our residents have much higher quality water.
I have a question. Have you talked to the county about any, I just heard some townships or some towns didn't take their AARP money or ARP money, American Recovery Act? Is there any funds still available?
No, we checked into that some time ago. I think most of that was slated to causes that received none during the first round. But the money had disappeared before we even asked. It was already reallocated. That was several months ago. So that money's been dispersed.
Larry, one more question. When you get phase one done, over where you run out of money, will people be able to start tapping into it at that time, or is that sometime later?
People are tapping into it now.
Oh, really?
Anyone who wishes to tap into it now, I advertise that fact. Haps are at a discount because you don't have to dig it up again.
Oh, so are the, oh, that's good, I didn't know.
The incentive is while the line's open.
Right, yeah.
You can wait till later, it's gonna cost you double.
What's the fee?
It's about $3,500.
Do they have to permanently disconnect from their well?
You need separation, but we're not requiring that you abandon your well that it needs to be separated, and we will check that.
You advertising that anywhere, Larry? You advertising that anywhere?
Oh, we sent letters out to everyone.
You did?
Along the route, yes, a long time ago. Yeah, and then a reminder, and I think a couple reminders.
And the fire hydrants are starting to work, or that's not yet?
2 of the hydrants are installed thus far.
Outstanding.
Are they operational? Because I saw a couple of them have bags over top of them currently.
They're not operational. The reason is the water line is not yet pressurized. The connection is made to the main line. We do not know, and we're leaving this up to the discretion of the contractor, whether he wishes to test and pressurize the line from the point of connection to our main system and 989 essentially have water available to people and the hydrants operable, or whether he wants to wait until he completes. So we're,
Are you guys involved in that testing?
oh, absolutely. Inspection and testing. There's someone from LSSC there every day, all day.
Very good.
And then we have weekly progress reports every Thursday morning.
Very good. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate your efforts.
Oh, sure, thank you.
Okay, recreation.
We had our trick or treat trail, and Mike sat up at the gazebo with his little clicker, counting every kid. And what'd you say, 954 or something like
Yeah,
that?
I think it was 40, I had 947, but, Greg told me that there were people who come in and didn't kinda come up that way, so I may have missed them, so.
Yeah.
We probably had in excess of 1,000 kids.
Yes, and
And then we probably had 3,000 people there.
and I did an estimate of 75 vendors, people who handed out candy, so that's a lot of people.
A lot of candy.
Yeah, a lot of candy. We worked with the chief and his crew and handling the parking and everything like that. I think it went pretty smooth. And the rec board was out of there by 8:30. We had everything cleaned up and we were out of there by 8:30 Saturday night, which is a lot better than 11 o'clock like it used to be. But and then we got the 5K Troop 444 race on Saturday, 10 to 12, I believe, right? And our last event of the year is December 14th, Santa at the Grange. Get pictures with Santa, and we're handing out cookies and milk and having craft games for the kids, and Santa will be arriving on our fire trucks. So
What time is that?
10 to 12.
You have recycling day over there.
That's here. Recycling's here.
Oh, is it here? Left was at the Grange.
No.
That was last month.
Yeah, they gave me the okay, so I assume.
I just,
Yeah,
when they set up over there, it's looking at the whole road.
but that's about it.
Dave, I thought it was 11 to 1.
There was people who didn't wanna go that late, so we're gonna change it. So Lori, can you change the time from 10 to 12 on the calendar, please?
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
We'll change the sign down at the park, and we're down change it.
So Santa will need to be picked up here, or at, here, and, brought over by, right around by 10 o'clock.
Jim, is that the same day you guys do all over the township with the?
We'll be doing that on the 21st this year,
Okay, 21st.
starting either at 11 or 12 o'clock or around 5-ish.
Dave, you make sure you thank everybody on that planning, or that rec board for all the extended efforts you do, because it's not a 9 to 5. And,
No.
you guys have been really busy and doing a great job.
We try. Our whole goal is to get as many people to the park as we can, and
That's in the midst of
It's
fall.
working.
I think fall ball's over.
fall ball's over, soccer should be over. Other than that, that's it.
They cleaned up. I've seen them down there working on the ball fields, but it's probably just normal maintenance. But, great job down there. Make sure you
We'd like to
extend the
know.
board's thank you.
Let them know.
Code enforcement, you guys all should have got a briefing on that. Yeah.
Lori, did that report come out?
That's Peggy, so no, I didn't receive any, the building report I got.
Building
Yeah,
enforcement.
yeah, I didn't get that.
Not good. And zoning hearing held on October 24th, 7 p.m. 1270 Freedom Road, Freedom Carter Road.
Of State Farm Insurance, putting in a digital sign, it was approved.
It was approved. Okay. Brings us to board comments.
Yes.
Go ahead, Fritz.
And on a positive note, Larry, I want to thank you, myself and the board, for all the work you do. I want to thank the firemen, the work they do, trick or treaters. Your work doesn't go unnoticed. Fire department, police, Doug, I know you worked the polls today, and blown away by the number of people who voted in Sewickley. I got there and the line from the green was all the way out down the street and into the parking lots.
Just starting to break the shit.
So, that's good, and, the last thing, I've been on the board, I don't know, 8, 9 years, we finally got her straight, like, I'm surprised nobody's mentioned it. But we got the light at Rochester Road, which I think helps, and especially at 989 and, Klein Road. It makes it a lot safer, so, took a long time to get it, but Ron.
You worked on that 8 years.
Well, Ron has been the driving force for that. He has a connection, and I thank you for pushing that through. Took a long time, but it's
People
well
want,
worth it.
people wanted 68 and Lenny.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. Okay.
How long was that like to know? I mean, a month. I just started doing it last week and noticed what a difference that made.
You're looking for school buses.
An LED lights, everybody's.
What? I'm sleeping now. Okay.
When we're meeting on the 15th with the guys from Kendall, what's the subject? Is that put lights at that intersection that we're talking about?
I don't know that there's an I think it's just a general discussion on how we can improve safety at that intersection.
Oh, okay.
Something going on down there, because they painted all kinds of markings.
I saw that, yeah.
Buildings down there.
There's engineering marks on Glen Eden, the intersection of Glen Eden and 68. I don't know what they're all about, but there's a bunch of graffiti.
What did Mike say about a meeting on the 15th? Oh, okay.
Some of his office in Rochester. One thing, I just wanted to thank Penn Energy. I see her sitting back there for extending your water to our fire department. Make sure you let them know that we appreciate that. It was a dire situation. We were having a lot of trouble, and we appreciate your accommodation.
That's what the dry hydrant there is for, so.
Very good, thank you. All right, that brings us to adjournment. Need a motion?
So moved.
Motion and second, all in favor? Thank you. See you tomorrow.